This episode is brought to you by Kia's first 3-row all-electric SUV, the Kia EV9, with available all-wheel drive and seating for up to 7 adults, with a 0 to 60 speed that thrills you 1 minute, and available reclining lounge seats that unwind you the next. Visit kia.com/EV9 to learn more. Ask your Kia dealer for availability. No system, no matter how advanced, can compensate for all driver error and or driving conditions. Always drive safely.
I'm Mo Rocca, and I'm excited to announce Season 4 of my podcast, Mobituaries. I've got a whole new bunch of stories to share with you about the most fascinating people and things who are no longer with us. From famous figures who died on the very same day, to the things I wish would die, like buffets. All that and much more. Listen to Mobituaries with Mo Rocca wherever you get your podcasts.
Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And in today's episode, there ain't too many times when I do like crime episodes and stuff where I'm talking on crimes, but no, there's one crime that I've paid attention to a lot throughout my life, because it was something where it's like, you know, when you listen to the individual's music, you can't help but think, like, what happened that night when they were, you know, tragically shot and then died a few days later and stuff. So I wanted to talk on Tupac, and overall, I know people are gonna probably like, you know, Brad, like, no, there's no way, because yes, I was born the same year. Like, I was born literally a month before all that stuff had happened. So no, like, I can't really say too much about it, but I can voice my opinion on some of the things that I have heard about that situation. Because just recently, one of the suspects that was, you know, involved in that whole situation, his house was just recently raided. So there's that I want to talk on. There's also this cop that was, I think he was the first responding cop on the situation, where I wanted to talk on some of the things that he said, and then just overall give out my own personal opinion on the whole situation. So, but no, for those that don't know Tupac was a musician that was literally taking over the 90s. Just with music and acting. I mean, if this man would have still been alive today, I feel like that what music is and what acting is, like, it, you know, acting, I feel like we've seen so many talented actors, you know, go in and out of the business and stuff. And with Tupac, on the other hand, it was like this man can put out a good movie, a month later put out a good album. You know, so that was like, to me, it was just, you know, Tupac, when I see that man, when I see his movies and when I see his music, it's like, it's unreal on how talented a person could be when it comes to those, like, two categories. Because I feel like you really gotta, you know, go at it and stuff. And with him, it was like, he was meant for the business. You know, he was meant for the entertainment business. So, but tragically, he got mixed into the wrong crowd, and yeah, you know, sadly in 1996 he had lost his life. You know, again, wrong crowd. And that's what I honestly blame, because if you watch his movie, you would see that he was with the right people at the start of his career. And I personally think if he was with those people today, I think that, yeah, Tupac, I honestly truly believe that he would still be alive today. I do not think that he would have got mixed into the wrong crowd if he had been with the right people. But he overall started hanging with the wrong people. Eventually, yeah, you know, it led to his tragic death. So what happened that night? What went down that night when he was shot? So, because he was shot. He didn't die on the day that he was shot. He died some days later. I can't remember, because I think he got shot on the 7th, and I think he died on the 13th. So it was like 6 days later when he had passed. But so anyways, September 7th, 1996, what's going on? So Tupac had just left this Mike Tyson fight. And one of his people that was a part of the record label that he was signed to, Death Row Records, comes up to him and said, hey, this guy that had that we fought and that, you know, robbed me, he's here. He's right here, you know, at this casino. So Tupac is tracking the guy down. He's looking for him. Eventually he does see him. Ends up beating the guy up, fighting him in the middle of the lobby. You can see some security videos where you should see the you know, the fight go down. But yeah, overall, he fights the guy, beats the guy down. His people pull him off. They end up leaving the casino. And then, yeah, at some point, Tupac, he ends up switching clothes because he goes back to his hotel. He ends up switching clothes because I'm pretty sure he probably was doing that because he knew that the cops would have been looking for him and stuff. So he switched clothes. But I'm like, bro, it's like you're Tupac. So I don't know the whole like switching clothes thing, what that was for. But I imagine that he probably overall did that as a tactic where, like, in case of cops, there are like people don't know him, don't really recognize him. They're like, yeah, there's this man, because I think he was wearing like this like orange shirt, and so they were probably, if cops would have showed up, they were like, yeah, there's a man in an orange shirt. He was randomly fighting and all this stuff. So yeah, switch clothes and things. But so anyways, switches clothes. He's heading over to a club. I believe it was called Club 662. So so him and his entourage, like members of Death Row, and I think it was the security guard, they're all heading to this club. And when they pulled up to this red light, I think there were some girls that had recognized Tupac, or Tupac had seen some girls. They started exchanging a conversation, and then there was the white car. So, okay, so yeah, because I feel like I kind of like left out some details. So the guy that they had jumped, where Tupac had fought in the casino, he was a gang member. And that's why, because like a lot of the members of Death Row Records were Blood gang members, and the guy that they fought was a Crip. So yeah, so it wasn't like they just saw him and just started. No, they had some of the members of Death Row and some Bloods. They seen that guy and they recognized that guy because they had fought at the mall. And then one of them had I think it was, I don't know if it was the guy himself or it was another Crip member that had took one of the Death Row members' chains. So anyways, now getting back to the day of when Tupac was shot. So yeah, so those guys, the gang member that Tupac had fought and his uncle, and then there was two other Crip members, where they were driving around looking for Tupac because they was like, no, you do this to one of us, we gotta do something back. So I think the original plan is that they were going to wait for him to get to this club and either shoot up the club, shoot him. They were going to do something, but they were waiting for him they already knew that they were going to that club. So they waited for them at the club. And then once when they came back, they were driving around still looking for them and stuff because they was like, it's Tupac, he ain't going to be hard to miss. And sure enough, Tupac, I think what the one gang member was saying was that Tupac was I think he was like outside the window or the sunroof of the car, and he was just, kind of, I think it was like talking to the girls, waving at people and all that stuff. So anyways, they because they were heading in the opposite direction of where Tupac was going, and they were coming back from the club, they were heading back, and then they ended up busting a U-turn, pulled on the right side of the car that Tupac and Suge Knight was also in the car too. He was the one driving the car, but yeah, pulled up on the right side of the car where Tupac was sitting at, and then yeah, that's when they opened fire. Shot Tupac multiple times. I think one of the bullets, I think it was a fragment I think it was either a fragment or I don't know if it was the glass, but it had cut Suge Knight across the head, and then at some point they just, sped off. Of course, that's something that you're going to do when being shot at. Sped off, and then eventually they ended up crashing the car. I think they hit a curb, and then they just flattened out the tires, messed the rims up. So yeah, it was at that point, the damage had been done. Tupac, he got shot in like pretty like vital areas and stuff. And then as the time went on, throughout those days, yes, he sadly tragically lost his life and things. And it's like, it's even sad talking about it because it's like, when I think of it, it's like this is somebody that was around the same age as me. And it doesn't even seem like it. It just seemed like that, this man, he accomplished so much in that short time, and it's just crazy, to even think some stuff like that. But you see it so often. You see where somebody accomplished something in a little time, and then they end up losing their life over some dumb stuff. And I'm like, yeah, to me, it's just, it was crazy. But so anyways, now let's talk on some of the theories that I have heard, with this whole situation. So one theory I remember hearing was that the Illuminati killed Tupac. The Illuminati isn't real. They did not. If it is, they didn't. They wasn't the ones that killed Tupac. Like I had just told with this story, it was a gang member that has shot and killed Tupac. The thing is this, and that's something that I have talked to my, because me and my dad, we're Tupac fans, and that's something that we've talked on, is that if you're a gang member, you're not going to let somebody that is not a gang member beat you down wherever you're at and then just, live on to tell that story. That's not going to happen. Because I think what that guy that Tupac fought, I think what he was thinking, because he's the one that had shot and killed Tupac. It was either him or one of the people that was in that car. But I believe that the man that shot and killed Tupac was the same man that got beaten up by Tupac. That I think his name was Orlando Anderson. So yeah, that's what I think. But it wasn't the Illuminati. Suge Knight didn't set up Tupac, because my thing is this, like I said, Suge Knight was in the car with Tupac. He was the one that was driving the car. So that means he was on the left side. Where those guys pulled up and they started shooting, they was on the right side of the car. So in my opinion, if I want somebody, if I'm in the car, right? If let's just say, and I'm not going to do no crazy stuff like that, but let's say if I'm Suge Knight and I want Tupac dead, I'm telling those guys, make sure you pull up on the left side of the car. So at least I can move out the way and you guys got a better angle. But the thing is this, if I don't say, I'm not going to want to be in the car, period. I'm going to have it where if I'm Suge Knight and I want Tupac dead, I'm like, no, Tupac's driving his own car. We're not getting in the car with him. Like, you guys can get in the car with them, but I'm not going to get in the car with them. I'm going to drive my own car. And then, yeah, that's when I'll let whatever happens. But I'm not going to be in the car with some, because I remember my dad was because I remember I was thinking along those lines years ago, where I was like, no, Suge Knight 100%, because he knew Tupac wanted out of death row, so he 100% set up Tupac. But my dad, he raised my attention with that theory, and he told me, he said, why would he be sitting in the same car he wants to get shot up, and then at the angle where the guy was shooting at, he very well could have shot Tupac. So that's why I'm like, there's no way possible you're gonna be sitting in the car that you want to get shot up. You're not gonna be sitting in that same car. You're not. And I remember when my dad told me that, I started thinking about it. I was like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense, because I wouldn't want to be in the car with somebody getting shot. I don't think nobody wants to be in the car and it's getting shot up. So anyways, but yeah, there's so many different theories. And then I think they were saying that P. Diddy and Biggie, they had something to do with it. I personally don't think Biggie and P. Diddy had anything to do with it. Even P. Diddy, and I know there's so many people that say like shady things about P. Diddy, but the thing is this, and I know people come probably ask, like, why don't you think Biggie did it? Because Biggie didn't come off as that type of person where he wanted to shoot and kill somebody, or he wanted somebody dead because of some beef. I don't think I've ever been that mad. Like, in the times where I've beefed with people and I've had people say crazy things about me, I'm not going to have it where their lives end because of some dumb stuff that's being said. It ain't like they hurt me. It's not like, and I don't think, with the stuff that Tupac was saying about Biggie, I don't think any of that stuff was phasing him. Biggie knew that Tupac was going through some stuff, and that's why, like, even when he had passed, and it was when Tupac passed, like, Biggie wasn't up on TV laughing about it. And I think even people that had that knew Biggie, I think there was people that said that Biggie was distraught. He was sad that Tupac had passed, because at one point in time, Biggie and Tupac were friends. I don't care how mad I am at a friend, I'm never going to pay for them to get, hurt or tragically killed. I've never been that mad at a friend. If anything, I'm going to just cut that friend off. If they talking crazy about me, that is on them for wasting their breath, but I'm not going to feed into it. That's on them. If anything, I'm like, no, we can settle our differences with a fight, but we ain't gonna settle our differences with each other getting killed. No, that's not happening. And I think that if it was that bad, yeah, Biggie, he came off as somebody, it's like he can handle his own. So he was like, yeah, you dealing with somebody like Tupac and things like Biggie. He was a big. I wonder how big Biggie was. Let me just see real quick. Biggie Smalls. Hold on. Height. He was 6'3" and 300 to 380 pounds. He did not come off, and I think Tupac. Tupac's height. Tupac was 5'9", and he was 165 pounds. So yeah, that's why I'm like, fam, I'm not worried about him. He ain't gonna, yeah, if he's coming at me with a weapon, then okay. But if he's coming at me with a fight, I'm literally twice that man's size. I'm not worried about him. At all. So that's why I'm like, yeah, Biggie came off as somebody, he's like, I'll fight somebody before I be pulling out a gun and shooting. I don't know. Me personally, if I'm a man of that size, I'm not going to be worried about somebody smaller than me, alright? So, unless, like I said, unless they got a weapon of some sorts, then okay. But if not, then yeah, I ain't worried about that. But yeah, and the whole reason of that was because of Tupac's first time he got shot, where he thought that Biggie had something to do with it because he made a song called Who Shot You. So I think that's why a lot of people was pushing out that narrative that Biggie had something to do with it because of their beef, that song. And, you know, and I think, yeah, it was just overall how Tupac was talking about him. I think at some point in time, if them two would have still been alive, I think they would have definitely, you know, reconnected with one another, because I think it was eventually revealed at some point who was behind Tupac being shot the first time back. I think it was in 94 or 93, I believe. So yeah, and that guy, I think he ended up like fleeing the country and moving to Cuba or something like that. So I think, yeah, that guy, he did flee the country, that first guy that was behind it. But yeah, the second guy, it was this gang member that Tupac had fought and stuff. So yeah, but like I was like, you know, like I was saying, it's like you're not going to let some musician beat you down, and then you're this well-known gang member, and then people were saying that they wasn't surprised, like that it was, you know, or like it wouldn't have surprised them if that guy was behind it, because I think people were saying that he was known for that type of stuff. And even that when that guy, because the guy that had fought Tupac, that you know was beaten up by Tupac, there was an interview that he did, and that interview, just how he was acting in that interview, it always sticks with me, because it was almost as if like he had something to do with it. So I was like, that's why I was like, when I watch, if you guys can watch the Orlando Anderson interview after Tupac was, because yeah, nobody didn't really know Orlando Anderson before. He didn't get to mainstream media until afterwards. So I think at some point in time, he most likely would have, if they would have found the evidence that they needed to find, most likely, and I think that's why his case is Tupac, where people say that his case is unsolved, because the guy that killed him, he's no longer here with us. But no. Even the guy's uncle, Orlando Anderson's uncle, has came out and said numerous times, and that's why an investigation was being held at his house, because he has said numerous times that Orlando Anderson was the one that pulled the trigger. He was the one that shot and killed Tupac. So that's why I'm like, yeah, case is closed. The man's uncle done said it. I'm pretty sure if the other two guys that was in the car, if they came out and did an interview, they most likely would say the same thing too. Unless if they had something to do with it, they're not going to admit that they were the ones that shot Tupac. So yeah, that's why it's like, yeah, they putting it all on him, because Orlando, he ended up dying 2 years later in the shootout. So you know, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, you know, shootout, and yeah, and it's like, you know, you're the lead, where at one point you was the lead suspect in Tupac shooting, and then you end up dying to a shootout a couple of years later. Yeah, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I think it's been solved a long time ago. I think, you know, just requires people to sit down and, you know, think about that type of stuff. But anyways, and that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Hopefully this you know, episode helped you. I think I'm gonna probably do some more like true crime episodes and stuff, talk on some different things. But anyways, and that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening, and peace.